Mayong udto kanatong tanan. My dear friends, we are joining the whole church today, the solemnity of Saint Joseph, the husband of the Blessed Virgin Mary, proclaimed as the patron of the universal church, as well as the patron of all workers and the carpenters. However, mysteriously as it is, there were no words that Joseph uttered that has been recorded in scriptures. We only knew him by the narratives of the Gospels, especially from that of Matthew, that he was called a righteous man. And somehow, let me be this point as our guide for reflection of how it is to be a righteous man, just like Joseph, in contrasts to the constant reproach of Jesus against the scribes and the Pharisees of calling them self-righteous. Saint Joseph, as a righteous man, would always be a man of faith. Even in the second reading from Paul to the Romans, we are told that Abraham inherited the world not by law, but from the righteousness that comes from faith. If a righteous person, if one is a righteous person, he is also a person of faith. These two come hand in hand. These two complement each other. And that is the reason why Saint Joseph was called a righteous person, because he brews his own faith in his heart. And that faith becomes the very foundation and the core of his being, and even the very foundation of all his choices and decisions in life, without any fear of taking Mary to be his wife, according to the words of the angel Gabriel that appeared in him in his dream. In contrast, to be a self-righteous, this is a person maybe perhaps with faith, but this faith is only for pretense, for people to see, and for people to acknowledge such righteousness of the person that is based on externalities. And this is what makes a person self-righteous, if the person is only dictated to how the people would see in the externalities of the person, and only wanting accolades because of the externalities that one is expressing. Nga ang mga tigpakaron ingnon, the self-righteous, are only making a pretense, are only making the dictates of the religiosity in order to gain honor and prestige. And yet their lives are far away from God. Unlike the life of Saint Joseph, a constant reflection in his heart, brewing faith in his heart, even without saying much words. Righteousness, on the other hand, just like Saint Joseph, is a decisive person that leads a person to make decisions out of goodness. And that is what we have found in the life of Joseph in the account of Matthew. Upon knowing that Mary has a child, and in order to save Mary from the cruelty of the law, he decided to divorce her quietly. Such as his intention, a good intention, an intention that comes from his being decisive in reference to the goodness of others and not for himself, that makes Saint Joseph a righteous person. On the other hand, a self-righteous is also decisive, but not for the welfare of good for others, but solely for the self. That is a decisiveness for the self-aggrandizing tendencies, compared to the decisiveness for the welfare of others that makes a righteous person. If a person is self-righteous, one is only concerned of the self, not others. One is only absolutely concerned of the welfare for the self, and never that of others. And that is why Saint Joseph in our Lenten journey, for indeed it is always celebrated, the solemnity within the Lenten journey, as our good example of how it is to be righteous and never that of self-righteousness. For indeed, Joseph, a son of David, the son of Abraham, a great saint, second after only of his wife, the Blessed Virgin, would always teach us a lot of things of how it is to be righteous and never that of a self-righteous person. Amen.